This Shabbat we have a very special speaker. In our handout it says guest speaker, but definitely not a guest. We have the opportunity for our own member of our congregation, Jerry Gideon, to reflect on returning home from a very recent, just 2 weeks ago, special trip to Israel through the Cleveland Jewish Federation. It's our honor to have Jerry share remarks and reflections.
Shabbat Shalom. Mazel Tov, Sari. You were fabulous, and I hope and you should be really proud of yourself. This week's parasha, as everybody is aware, is Vayetze, and is about the dream that Jacob had when he climbed the ladder. And next week in Vayishlach, we will read about when he wrestles with the angel. We traditionally read these two parashot in tandem. I recently returned from Israel on a Federation mission, and I'm honored to have been asked to share some thoughts and reflections of our experience and have the chance, through the words of this week's portion, to perhaps bring some current context to this fabled story. I'm struck by the parallel between Jacob wrestling with the angel and Israel on October 6, 2023. Israel was wrestling within itself, with opposing factions taking diametrically opposed positions within the government and society. Opinions have been offered that it was this very wrestling or infighting that led directly to the government taking its eyes off of what was really important and creating the void in security and protection that encouraged and allowed the atrocities of October 7th to take place. So what can we learn from the words of Vayetze that might be meaningful looking forward? There will be a time to look back and to hold those responsible accountable. But we now need to look forward. On my recent trip, we saw great examples of a people looking forward and yet wrestling with the recent past. Rabbi Jonathan Sachs writes about Jacob's dream and revelation. This was no small moment in the history of faith. We normally assume that the great spiritual encounters happen in the desert, or a wilderness, or a mountaintop, in an ashram, a monastery, a retreat, a place where the soul is at rest, the body calm, the mind in a state of expectation. But that is not Jacob, nor is it the only or even the primary Jewish encounter. We know what it is to encounter God in fear and trembling. Through much, thankfully not all, but through much of Jewish history, our ancestors found God in dark nights and dangerous places. Israel on October 7th was certainly a dark and dangerous place. This is the heritage of Jacob, who discovered that you can find God not just when you're peacefully tending your sheep or joining others in prayers at the temple or in a synagogue, but also when you are in danger, far from home, with peril in front of you and fear behind. There are modern lessons we can learn from Jacob's wrestling, as Rabbi Sachs continues. There is faith as in a wrestling match, as we struggle with our doubts and hesitations, above all with the fear that we are not as big as people think we are, or as God wants us to be. Out of such experiences, we, like Jacob, can emerge limping. Yet it is out of such experiences that we too can discover that we have been wrestling with an angel who forces us to a strength we did not know that we had. That is the gift of Jacob. And this is his life-changing idea, that out of the depths we can reach the heights. The deepest crises of our lives can turn out to be the moments when we encounter the deepest truths and acquire our greatest strengths. And for me, this is where the parasha gets sobering, relevant, fun, and awe-inspiring when I think about our recent trip to Israel. Vayikach Yaakov mishnato vayomer achen yesh Adonai b'makom hazeh anochi lo yadati. Jacob woke from his sleep and said, "Surely Adonai is present in this place, and I did not know it." Vayira vayomar manora hamakom hazeh, ein zeh, ki im beit Elohim v'zeh she'ar hashemayim. Shaken, he said, "How awesome is this place! This is none other than the abode of God, and that is the gateway to heaven." And that is what I found on my trip to Israel. How awesome is this place! As we learn in this week's Torah portion, God made a promise to Jacob that the land of Israel would be ours. And standing beside him was Adonai, who said, "I am Adonai, the God of your father Abraham's house, and the God of Isaac's house. The ground on which you are lying, I will assign to you and your offspring." That ground God refers to is and was Israel. We are going through some incredibly tough times as Jews, and Israel is under constant attack from enemies on all borders. Yet despite internal struggles and difficulties and suffering such a staggering tragedy on October 7th and its aftermath, Israel remains the homeland of the Jewish people as God had foretold and promised. It is a most amazing place, and it truly is awesome to behold. We had a lot of time to think about these things on our recent men's mission to Israel just over 2 weeks ago. If God had promised the land of Israel to us thousands of years ago, why is it such a struggle for us to keep it and be safe there? Why are there such ignorant challenges to our right to be there? How can there be any unclarity of our right to exist peacefully on our own God-promised land? And how can the world turn such a blind eye when it comes to us as Jews and our right to exist and defend ourselves in our holy land? As I reflect on what I learned and what we experienced, what we saw and what we did, I'm finding it really difficult to navigate. My mind is flooded with words like struggle and fatigue, resilience and hope, anger and betrayal, abandonment and security, morality, strength, sadness, trauma, and the amazing youth and next generation of Israelis for whom failure is not an option. Our mission was so profound and extremely impactful. We met with dignitaries and scholars, business leaders and innovative thinkers, politicians, military commanders, journalists, and most importantly, the survivors themselves, the Israeli people. How remarkable they are. Their spirit is unwavering. There are so many things to share in this short amount of time. We saw the Federation's work firsthand at Kisufim, our sister kibbutz on the Gaza border, where we listened with pride as we heard and saw all of the progress being made to restore, expand, and improve their dairy farm. It is really something to see, and it is really something to smell. We shared a meal with the incredible people of Beit She'an, some of whom you may have met on their visit to Cleveland or during their summer at Camp Wise. They are grateful for those life-changing experiences that Cleveland Federation provided. I will leave you with one of the most profound experiences of my trip. We were at the Kotel for Kabbalat Shabbat, and I noticed a circle of young girls standing together, talking to each other like you would see high schoolers at any party here in the States. As I look closer, they're all wearing uniforms. And looking closer still, they're all carrying machine guns. These beautiful kids are the ones that are fighting for Israel and for us. In an instant, I am transported in my mind's eye to our visit to the Hell of Nova, where I see the same young faces on memorial posters. Kids who just wanted to go to party and dance, and who found themselves in a place of such unspeakable evil, it literally sucked the breath right out of me. These beautiful children that could have been my kids, could have been our kids. And then my mind brings me back to the pulsating, vibrant, rocking sounds of Machane Yehuda, where the same young faces are dancing and socializing and bouncing back and resilient. And my mind's journey ends where the mission started in Tel Aviv, where the walking path along the sea is overflowing with beautiful young faces exercising and running forward with a fierceness and a purpose that I've never seen before. I took off my shoes and socks, and I walked into the sea. I made a shehechianu, and I wept. Israel will find a way to be okay, to wrestle and battle through their fatigue, to defeat their enemies, to win, and to show the world that Israel is strong and safe and secure and in good hands. And as God had made the promise in Vayetze, ours. Am Yisrael Chai, Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you for being a leader. Thank you for traveling to Israel on all of our behalfs and sharing your reflections. As a reminder, this is the last week of Jewish Federation of Cleveland's annual campaign, and it is our responsibility and mitzvah to donate to that campaign, which helps us, our own synagogue, by the way, helping with our security enhancements, helping with educating our youth. They help pay for some salaries of our youth staff, as well as providing special programs for us. And of course, the Federation's commitment to Israel and global Jewry. I hope you'll do your part. And thanks again, Jerry. It's special also your parents are here from Chicago for a visit and to be able to get nachas from their son. And it's always special to have them here.